Alright guys, this could be the greatest example of cause and effect that we have ever seen. This is what happens when a massive YouTuber with a huge audience across social media decides to take on the entire gaming community. He F's around and finds out in real time, and it is absolutely glorious to see. And I'm not going to bury the lead anymore. What we're talking about is the Stop Killing Games initiative passing 1 million signatures this morning, an absolutely amazing accomplishment. Seeing as this thing was dead in the water, it was treading water, it was not going to hit the mark that it needed to by the end of this month, and it seemingly has done that, although there is a caveat to that, and I'll let Ross Scott address this because he made a video talking about this earlier today.
Okay, the breaking news. The European Citizens Initiative has crossed 1 million signatures. Except it hasn't. This is going to kill morale, but there are two things going on here. The first we knew was coming. Every time somebody makes a mistake when they sign the initiative, their signature gets invalidated. So that means we need more signatures to make up for everybody's mistakes. I've heard 10% minimum, 20% is better, 40% should be really safe. Or it would be, but we have a second problem. I've received several reports of people claiming to spoof signatures on the initiative site. But the problem here is I am now in a complete fog as to how much this affects the initiative. Now don't worry, none of this will invalidate the initiative. All legitimate signatures will still count.
That being said, this is still an incredible accomplishment. Nobody should feel down about this. You guys have done an incredible job spreading the word, encouraging your friends to sign this. Keep it up. You guys are doing amazing things. And it is absolutely pertinent given that we are now seeing the announcement that Anthem is finally shutting down the servers after all these years. And when this game shuts down, there is no offline mode. It is gone. It is dead. No matter how much money you spent on this game, you will never get your money back. And that's why this initiative is so important. And that's why when Pirate Studios decided to push back against it, to say it's a terrible idea, to say how stupid he thought it was, that is why this situation has got as ugly as it has. If you don't remember what he said specifically about the initiative, I'll play this little supercut for you, so you can refresh your memory.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. Now, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I drop the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. That sounds stupid as shit.
So, of course, Pirate Studios has essentially made himself the villain in this entire situation. You've even seen memes, I'm sure, about this with the Stop Killing Games initiative, where it says, hero makes a last-ditch attempt to save the world with his friends. The villain betrays the hero. Public realizes that the villain is evil. Using this newfound power of friendship and public adoration, the hero comes back stronger than ever and saves the world. What's your favorite video game with this trope? Mine's Persona 5. I don't know, I couldn't pick one personally, but I do find it funny that essentially that's what's happened with Pirate Software. Even the Act Man, who I know a lot of people no longer respect, said, what if Pirate Software is pulling a 4D chess move and being a huge dick in order to draw more attention to Stop Killing Games? Sometimes you need a villain to inspire change. I think he's giving him a little too much credit, to be honest. Nuxtaku says, shout out to Pirate Software, we couldn't have done it without him. And this was after it crossed the threshold first thing this morning. But again, this has been a situation that's been ongoing where Pirate Software has seemingly tried to act like the sensible centrist who knows everything, and if you don't understand it, that's on you. And again, this is the problem people have had with him. It's not that he has a differing opinion. It's the fact that he was so vehemently antagonistic about it to the point where he said he was going to actively try to kill it, and then he tried to misrepresent and mischaracterize exactly what the initiative was about in order to prove himself right. This is a textbook narcissist, guys. This is somebody who cannot be wrong, cannot accept that he's wrong, and will lie rather than tell the truth if he thinks it'll somehow allow him to save face. So now we see Pirate Software, in reaction to all of this negative attention that he's gotten, saying, I am no longer working at off-brand games. People were attacking all of the games we were publishing and trying to mass review bomb them. You can dislike the things I say, but this kind of behavior is unhinged. Learned a lot there, accomplished a lot, hope they succeed regardless. Love those dudes and loved working with them, hope they keep cooking. Now, A lot of people have pushed back about the whole review bombing thing, and we'll get to that in a minute. But then you see some other people who have suffered from review bombing due to, again, activist-minded people responding saying, "Excellent work, man. You fed the trolls for the next 6 months by showing them that indie developer can be seriously harmed by review bombing. People will get what they want. You could have ended this by showing some humility or humor, but you chose weakness. You're a leader of a community. You wanted to lead the indies, enjoy their recognition, and teach them how to succeed. That also comes with responsibility, and you have to show some backbone when it's needed. I've been dealing with this shit for a year to show developers to stop acting like pussies, contribute their point of view for a healthy debate, and stop making everything shittier only to cater to narcissists. You go on and crash over an opinion that isn't harmful or even politically divisive. You are, in fact, more responsible for everyone getting what they want. Why on earth are you self-flagellating over that? I hope you learn from this and set a better example next time." Now, again, Archer is a little sensitive because his game Soul Ash 2 was actually review bombed by people who didn't like the fact that he chose not to add homosexual relationships into his game because it didn't make any sense. In his own mind, he's like, there's no point in adding that because the only reason you have relationships is to continue your lineage in the game. You can't do that with two dudes. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. But again, he's a little sensitive to this because he has seen review bombs actually have effect on games. But again, we'll talk about the review bombs in a minute here. Legendary Drop says, "How many games flop because a dev pops off on social media, risking their game in studio? Tell me you haven't stopped using a product or left a bad review because you disagreed with the views of one of their leaders. You're a public figure. You are every product you touch." And then you have people down here, like Carl, CJ Bogart, saying, "I don't understand why the internet likes to hyper-focus hate when someone has an opinion they disagree with." Of course, most people point out, anything people hate him for is not about his opinion, it's about his demeanor and behavior. He tried to shut down the movement because he didn't understand it, doubled down 5 times. Because his opinion is stupid, it's not about the opinion, it's about the misrepresentation of the movement. Again, people don't understand that it's not about hate, it's about the fact that this guy is so self-absorbed that he thought it was better off to try and prove that he was right, or to convince people he was right, than ever admit that he was wrong. Pirate Software would then follow this up by saying, "For those trying to say this is now somehow a lie, the abuse was across socials, people on Discord, Twitter, Reddit, and some reviews on Steam. Indie games are fragile things, and attacks like that hit hard. Overall sentiment was to bash the games and the developers working on them to try to get back at me. Not worth bringing them down for my opinion. Also stop it, get some help." And personally, look, I understand that it doesn't make sense if you don't like someone's opinion to attack a product that they're associated with. Like, how does it affect his opinion or change his opinion if you review his game negatively? But at the same time, we have seen time and time again that sometimes the ability to leave a negative review, even if it's not associated with the product that you've purchased, for example, Helldivers 2 over the PSN account requirement, right? People use the review feature, the review bombing, if you will, to send a message to the developer that they were not happy with their decisions. It's just, unfortunately, it's the nature of how things operate on the internet. Sid Alpha says, "You yourself stated people were attempting a mass review bomb where none has occurred on any games off-brand or associated with. The same cannot be said of your self-published game that you're reportedly not even working on. Indies can be fragile, but in my experience with indie devs, which have been rather extensive, they're only fragile in certain ways. Ethereal review bombs that have not materialized are not a manner in which they are. With quote-unquote hate mobs, a properly worded statement is usually all that is needed. A reasoned and reasonable response in the face of observable and provable mindless hatred has historically been more than enough. Unless it is culture war nonsense in which the terminally online will never not persecute and are best ignored." Again, Archer from Soul Ash 2 responded and said, "Review bombing is harmful to public debate. We will have stopped killing games because Pirate Software had a bad take. That sparked everyone else to act. If you go on and harm one side to the point of losing business opportunities or jobs, then you silence people who have something of worth to say but are afraid. Allow all people to share their opinions for a healthy debate and let the best ideas win on merit. Stop killing games by review bombing them for things unrelated to the game." The problem is, nobody can actually seem to find the review bombing. Frittata says, "I just checked the reviews and I don't even see these review bombs." Of course, we've also got Kilted Cajun saying, "Is someone talking at their ass," showing that both the games that he was associated with here both have mostly positive reviews. Pirate Nation ironically calling him out, saying Pirate Software is lying again, playing the victim and blaming everyone but himself. And you can see again these charts right here showing one negative review out of many positives several days apart. Again, mostly massively positive reviews on this Rivals of Aether 2 on the beginning of July, end of June, where it has like a massive amount of positive reviews. So if you go to his one game that he was working on himself, I guess it's been in early access for like 7 years now. This one is the example of actual review bombing. You can see on the chart here, this thing has gotten beat to hell just in the last couple of weeks alone. You can make the argument that this absolutely is a review bomb right here. But in regards to the other games he was associated with, for example, this For Bonnie Bear Saves Frog Time demo, you've got one negative review. One. In the past 6 months. And the funniest thing is it says, I came here after Pirate Software said people were review bombing off-brand games titles. I'm disappointed both in the lack of review bombing and in the game. So again, criticizing the game itself while also saying, yeah, there's no review bombing going on here. Pirate Software then, of course, an hour or two ago, says the most interesting narrative is that my videos somehow, quote, killed the initiative. This graph shows that the initiative already had a downward trend in interest when my videos dropped. My videos do not seem to have had any impact on the movement at all. Making me the villain did, though. Best of luck with your next steps. And of course, Ross over at Cursed Farms in his video also addressed the, harassment.
Something else to cover quick is I've heard a couple reports of people harassing Pirate Software. I feel like this goes without saying, but if it doesn't, no. Of course we do not endorse harassing him. I mean, I said in my response video, I wished him no ill will, and I meant that. You know why? When people's lives are better, they tend to be less inclined to foment some sort of revenge, and I'm taking on enough heat already without adding to the pile. I mean, I'm getting some crazies heading my way too, though I can believe it's not as many. I also pointed out last time, whatever damage Thor did to the campaign has been neutralized, so whatever happens is not on him anymore. I'll also say, I don't know what the hell everyone is up to either. This is a lot bigger than me. I can barely keep up with the campaign, let alone him or all the supporters.
And I'm not going to sit over here and condone harassment. I'm not going to be okay with you guys sending him DMs, telling him to, do all those gamer words and do things in Minecraft that you shouldn't be telling people to do. But at the end of the day, I'm sick and tired of listening to this man make himself the victim, whine, complain, lie, and try to manipulate people simply because he had a horrible opinion and he refuses to actually admit it. So he's just going to continue to double and triple down on it. And at this point, I think he's probably a lost cause. But anyways, guys, keep spreading the message. Keep sharing this around. If you're in the EU, try to get your signature on it. Make sure you do it the correct way. And I will catch you guys on the next one. All right, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.